I've had my fair share of troubles with my wheels recently, which has meant that I've put a lot of time into researching the current state of wheel manufacturers, and I thought I would compile a list of the top 5 Chinese carbon wheel manufacturers that I would have gone with if I didn't go with the one that I did go with, and that is also included in this list. We are now entering the carbon zone.
There is no life without carbon.
Carbon zone, eBay exclusive seller. The only one who's selling exclusively on eBay on the list, because I'm not a massive fan of eBay at the best of times, but at least it will add an extra layer, maybe a thin layer of security that you're going to get what you pay for. But at least you can pay through PayPal and go back and see what people have said about the company. 99.2% positive feedback is pretty high for somebody who's been selling as much as this company has. So they're going to be reliable and you're probably going to get what you pay for. Next up, we've got Carbon Speed Cycles. This is probably the company that if you're really scraping the barrel with your budget, then go with this company, because they don't use as high a spec components as some of the other companies on this list. You know, they've got Powerway hubs, they're not using DT Swiss hubs, they're not using SAPIM spokes. If you really want some light Chinese carbon wheels at a bargain basement price, and not so bothered about the types of components that they're going to be using, then I'd go with Carbon Speed Cycles. Next up, we've got Dengfu, which is a company more known for their bike frames. I think they make frames for a lot of well-known companies that they won't be under the name Dengfu, but they also supply wheels, some very nicely spec'd, light, good-looking carbon wheels that I'd be happy to ride around on. Something that I always do when I buy from a company in China is just use their contact form. Find a point of contact and just ask them a few questions. And the answers that you get back and how quickly they respond will tell you a lot about the company, and probably a good indication of what's to come if you do order from them. Next one, we've got Light Bicycle. The thing I liked about this site is that you can custom spec the wheel with quite a lot of detail. So everything about the wheel, all the components, you can spec out in this interface, which is quite nice. Don't judge a Chinese carbon wheel manufacturer's wheel build by their website build, because you won't get anywhere, because most of these, it's a hallmark of these Chinese companies that they don't employ a web designer, they don't employ a designer, full stop. And you can see the results. To be honest, it probably means that they're concentrating more on the wheel build than anything else to do with the company, and that's more important. And then we've got Fast Sports /FSE. So FSE and Fast Sports seem to be the same company, or at least part owned by the people who own Fast Sports. And they've got a long history of reliably supplying customers all over the world, lots of feedback. There's reviews on YouTube if you type in Fast Sports or FSE, and you can see that people have had wheels and done thousands of kilometers on them and reviewed them and been happy with them. FSE were the only Chinese wheel manufacturer that would spec you out with extra light hubs, which is kind of cool. But I'm happy with DT Swiss. So what you're trying to do here really is cut out the middleman so you can get a superior product at a cheaper price. You're having the Chinese company manufacture the carbon rim and then use companies that you already know, like SAPIM for the spokes or DT Swiss for the hubs. Use companies that you know and then have the Chinese company build that wheel up for you, send it to you. You've cut out the middleman, you've got a superior product for a cheaper price. And everything on that wheel is as guaranteed quality as you would expect from any other manufacturer, because this is where the big name companies are getting their wheels made anyway. And then finally, Yoleo, the company that I did end up going with. I went with Yoleo in the end because of the YouTube reviews. People on YouTube having ridden the wheels for thousands of kilometers with no reason not to give an honest review, saying that these wheels were some of the best wheels that they've ever ridden, then that was enough for me to then research a bit further. I contacted the company. You can see on their website they're a UCI approved wheel builder. There's past transactions, ratings from other users all over the world. So it feels like less and less of a gamble that you're going to be throwing your money into a black hole, crossing your fingers and hoping that something comes out. Like, you just have to research, do your research, type that company in. If there's a company that isn't featured on this list, type that company into YouTube, into Google. And if there isn't reviews from people who've ridden these wheels for thousands of kilometers, then don't buy from them, because there are companies where people have ridden them for thousands of kilometers and been happy with them, and they're the companies that you want to go with. So just take your time, contact the company beforehand, make sure that you can pay through an intermediary like preferably PayPal, and that the company will give you a tracking number for your delivery. And there's no reason why then you will not get what you pay for, a quality product, a superior product for a cheaper price, because you've taken the big brand middleman out of the equation.
Let's go.